Welcome to Wawas on Wire. Today, we're talking about the significant political U-turn involving the United Progressive Kinabalu organization in Sabah.
It's a story that really caused a seismic shift in state politics right after the election. We're talking about a party, the United Progressive Kinabalu organization, making this incredibly dramatic pivot.
A pivot to align with the coalition supporting Datuk Seri Hajiji Noor as chief minister.
Exactly. And the shock comes from just how sudden it was.
And when you say dramatic pivot, it feels like an understatement. I mean, this was a complete reversal of the exact principles they were shouting about during the campaign.
It really was. The gap between what they said before the election and what they did after is just, it's startling.
So it's no surprise that the public reaction wasn't just disagreement. It was, from what I saw, genuine shock, raw disappointment.
Oh, absolutely. For the voters who backed them, thinking they were getting something new, something principled, this must have felt like instant political whiplash.
So to really get the scale of this, we have to start with the promises they made, right? Because that was the entire foundation of their campaign.
That's the only place to start. Their entire identity was built on this one central idea.
Okay, let's unpack that. The United Progressive Kinabalu organization went into this election with a platform that was, incredibly clear and really powerful for regional politics.
It was all centered on one phrase, Sabah First. And this wasn't just some vague, empty slogan. It was a manifesto with very clear boundaries. It was designed to appeal to voters who were, frankly, tired of federal interference and corruption.
So it really resonated.
Deeply. It spoke to this desire for real autonomy, for Sabah to handle its own affairs.
And they backed it up with two absolute non-negotiable promises. These were like the pillars of their entire credibility.
That's a good way to put it, pillars.
The first one was about, geography and independence. They vowed very clearly they would not align with any political parties from peninsular Malaysia.
And you have to understand, in Malaysian politics, that is a massive promise, a huge one.
Why so huge?
Well, the history of Sabah politics is just filled with complaints that decisions are being made across the South China Sea. So for a party to stand up and say, we are an iron firewall against that, that's a powerful electoral tool. It promises a purely Sabahan focus.
Okay, so that's pillar one. What was the second?
The second was about integrity. And in today's climate, this is maybe even more important, they promised not to compromise or collaborate with anyone implicated in corruption.
It's a very explicit anti-graft stance.
Yes, a total rejection of what they called old politics.
So you have this double guarantee, freedom from outside influence and freedom from internal rot.
Exactly. For a public that is just screaming for transparency, that is an incredibly powerful combination. Their whole campaign was built on this, this perceived moral high ground.
Right. So they have this crystal clear platform. They get the votes based on Sabah First, no peninsular alliances, no corruption. So the big question is, what happened the moment the votes were counted?
The pivot. It was immediate, and it was absolute. The post-election math just demanded a stable coalition to form a government.
And the United Progressive Kinabalu organization decided that political relevance was more important than their principles.
That appears to be the calculation they made.
So let's get specific. Who did they align with? Because this is where the promise was broken.
They officially joined the bloc supporting Datuk Seri Hajiji Noor. And that bloc consists of Gabungan Rakyat Sabah GRS and Pakatan Harapan, or PH.
And right there, that's the problem, isn't it?
It's the unavoidable breach. I mean, let's just look at the makeup of that coalition.
Go ahead.
Pakatan Harapan is, by definition, a major national coalition. Its leadership, its roots, they're all firmly in the peninsula.
So by joining them, the United Progressive Kinabalu organization shattered that first promise. The firewall just disappeared.
It crumbled. The moment they sat down at that table, the Sabah First promise, at least in its purest form, was gone.
Which highlights this really difficult dilemma for regional parties, doesn't it?
It's the core problem. Do you stand on principle and risk being powerless in opposition? Or do you compromise to get a seat at the table?
And they chose the seat at the table.
They chose stability and relevance.
And that leads us straight into the public fallout. Because this wasn't just, we disagree with that move. This was a deep emotional feeling of being, lied to.
Betrayed. The word you see over and over again is betrayal. People felt the campaign was just a cynical trick to get their votes.
Because they had sold themselves as the antidote to old politics.
Exactly. And then they go and perform the most classic old politics move imaginable, trading ideals for positions. The trust deficit was immediate and it was severe.
The criticism online was just It was brutal.
It was. You saw countless people saying they sold out their principles, that they traded Sabah dignity for power.
And that phrase, Sabah dignity, is key because they're the ones who used it so much during the campaign.
And that creates a narrative of hypocrisy that is so, so difficult to escape from.
The cynicism that came out of this was maybe the most telling part. The jokes were sharp.
Very sharp. They cut right to the heart of the disappointment.
The most memorable one for me was the twist on their own slogan. They ran on Sabah First.
And the public immediately turned it into safety first.
Safety first. That just encapsulates the whole thing, doesn't it?
It's perfect. It suggests they prioritize their own political safety, their positions, their stability over the risky, principled path they promised everyone. It's a joke, but it's also a profound political indictment.
And then there were the comments about the voters themselves, the ones saying the real victims here are the people who actually believed them.
Well, that's the thing. That hits at the core of democratic trust. Political capital isn't just seats in an assembly. It's the hopes of real people.
And when you spend that capital so carelessly, it's the electorate that feels the loss.
It immediately brings back that old, jaded saying, in politics, there are no permanent friends or enemies.
Only permanent interests.
Exactly. The very thing they promised to fight against.
There was another joke making the rounds, too, about the complexity of the coalition itself.
Oh, yes. That nobody actually knows how many partners are in Gabungan Rakyat Sabah anymore.
Which sounds funny, but it speaks to a real exhaustion.
It's political fatigue. It's the public just throwing their hands up and saying, these alliances are so transactional and confusing that we can't even keep track anymore.
But this goes way beyond jokes on social media. Political analysts are sounding some very serious alarms for the party.
They are. The consensus is that this isn't just about one bad move. This is about destroying the very foundation of your party's reason to exist.
So they got a tactical win in the short term. They're in the government.
A short-term win, yes. But the long-term cost to their credibility might be catastrophic.
Why is that loss of trust so fatal now, though? I mean, we've seen political horse trading before.
Because the electorate is changing. Voters who are drawn to these kinds of movements, they're demanding more. They want firmness. They want leaders who actually stand by what they say.
They don't want mushy compromises.
No, they want accountability. So when a party violates its two core promises so quickly, so blatantly, it just sends the signal that their words mean nothing when power's on the table.
It puts them in an impossible position for the next election. How do you even begin to campaign on integrity after this?
That's the profound irony. They ran on a platform of rejecting old politics, only to engage in what everyone sees as the most cynical form of it.
Rebuilding that trust, it seems almost impossible, especially in a place like Sabah where these issues of identity and principle are so central.
It's the hardest thing to do in politics. Once that trust is broken so fundamentally, getting it back is a monumental task.
So this all brings us to that final difficult question. This decision has secured them short-term power, sure. They're supporting the chief minister. They have a role in government.
It is the ultimate political trade-off.
Yeah.
They preach principle, but they practice pragmatism. The legacy of this U-turn is now a question every single voter in Sabah has to ask.
And that question is, in a political landscape where local identity was supposed to be everything, can the United Progressive Kinabalu organization ever recover from this? Or has the price of power permanently bankrupted their political capital?
A really challenging thought, and one that I think resonates far beyond just Sabah.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.